today we are talking about characters, and which is a great and fun topic. I love it because books are, they're either really good or they're really bad, and a lot of times that can be because of characters or how you connect with characters. So we're starting with, what are some characters in your stories that maybe surprised you? Maybe you ended up liking them more than you thought you would, or something along those lines.
For me, I think one that I ended up, I knew I was going to like her, but I didn't know how much I was going to like her. I absolutely adore her, and I kind of wish she was more than just the side character that I made her to be. But I have one in there. Her name is GGB, and she was a lot of fun. She's quirky, and she's sassy, and she's the grandma of my main character's best friend. And I've had other people come up to me and, oh, I really like her. She's just so much fun, and she's so she's that balance, because while she is fun and quirky and sassy, she's also very wise and godly, and that kind of person that we all want to be someday, and everything. So I would say she's probably one that surprised me with how much I liked her and how much other people have liked her.
Nice. So on the other end of the spectrum, when I first started writing Unexpected Legacy, I knew that they weren't going to be able to get together right away, but I couldn't figure out why. And as I was writing, I realized that there was something in the past. Their parents had dated in high school. So what broke the parents up? And then I realized it was her aunt, her mom's sister. So Aunt Ruth was the reason, but I could not figure out why Aunt Ruth didn't want them to be together until I got literally to the end of the book. It took me that long to figure out why. So I'm writing this, and she's bitter, and she's angry, and she's just no nonsense, and she's even mean in some of the scenes. And I've actually had people tell me that they do not like Aunt Ruth at all, even at the end, after everything comes out as to why she wants them to not be together. They still don't like her. And I did try to redeem her a little bit at the end, but it was just so hard. And when we were trying to come up with the final name for my book, because I was going to name it For the Love of Smoothies, and was told that that was way too light of a title for this book, my husband jokingly looked and said, "You should name it Butt Out Aunt Ruth," because that's what everybody wants her to do in this book. And I'm like, I don't think that would be a good title either. So
I kind of like
you like it? You would read that.
Yes.
So
that
the
would make me pick
alternate
it up,
title
to be honest.
of Unexpected Legacy is Butt Out Aunt Ruth.
I like it. That's
It's
good.
the unofficial alternate title.
How about you, Erin?
Probably the one character that surprised me the most is Sam in the Cleveland Chronicles, because that's one that everybody said is their favorite. One of their favorites. And when I was writing it, I didn't mean for him to be, I like him a lot, don't get me wrong, but he wasn't like my favorite. But the more that I kept hearing the readers say that, and the more that kept getting deeper and deeper into the book, I realized, or to the series, I realized I really like Sam. He's steady, and he's there, and he's loyal. You know what I mean? I just really liked him, but he has that mystery of what's going on, what happened to him. And so I'm really excited for The Silencer, because it's all about Sam. And I was really glad to do that, because my readers are, pretty excited, I think.
Yeah. My
My beta readers were like, yay, a whole book about Sam, so they're super excited. But yeah, he's the one that surprised me. Well, yeah, Victor, he's my favorite. He really is. And when I first started, I thought Theo would be, but no, Victor's my favorite.
Yeah, she's the main character, but I really feel in a lot of ways she's not the main character.
Yeah.
There are others that I feel like their story really comes charging through in her story.
Yeah.
And she's the glue that holds
Puts
them all together.
Yeah.
And I like her.
Yeah.
But
And
but there are-
Elnora in the second book, I liked I liked bringing her in and fleshing that story out for her. So, I mean, the characters are fun, you know. And
So what do you do to make your characters not just like the cardboard cutout normal characters? Oh, this is a romance a romance book. So of course there's going to be a guy and a girl, and they're going to fall in love by the end. So what do you do to make sure they're not just the typical, oh, it's a needy woman and a masculine man and
That's awesome. A needy woman and a masculine
needy woman and a masculine
So
man.
we all can put
Another
that
great
in
title.
our,
No, I'm just kidding.
we can all put that in our queries to
Yeah.
editors now.
Yeah.
So this story is about a needy woman and a masculine man.
You know, but
I try to
cover
give
of a
mine
romance
their
novel,
own
that's what you have.
personality. You know,
Yeah.
really delve into not just their own personality, but why they're that way.
Why they're that way.
Why they're making the choices that they make. Kind of try and give them whatever quirk, or not even odd quirk. I mean, there are those quirks out there that's like, wow, you know, huh. But more like just their normal habits and things like that, the things that they love, the things that they react to and everything. And I noticed when I went from Faith's Journey and Grasping Hope and that series to my new one, I really wanted to make a distinction. I'm not writing another Katie story.
Right.
It is not her story. This person is different.
Yeah.
How is she different? And making each one their own person. And I think that's really important, because otherwise you do get that cardboard cutout.
Yeah.
You could put anybody in that place,
Right.
and they're going to do those things and say those things.
yeah.
So just to give them a little more depth that way.
Yeah. Regina Merrick and I, we have taught some workshops together, you know, and stuff. And we were talking about this very thing, and she was telling me about how Patricia Bradley, you guys have met her at the retreat, and I love her so much, and how Pat was saying how, what is your character's wound? You know, what has made them, like you were saying, like who they are today. And that's kind of one thing that I've tried to remember as I'm writing, is to use that emotional landscape, you know, to drive my characters. And you know, what is their wound? I love that. I just think that's a really good way to remember what has been done to them to make them like they are.
I think my biggest fear is that everybody's going to pick up one of my books and be like, oh, look, it's Amy. Oh, look, it's Amy again. Oh, look, it's Amy again. You know, like, I'm just putting but I know it's not. You know, I know it's not me in these books, even though my characters probably react similarly in a lot of ways to how I would react because I wrote it. But I know I like to give my characters like a favorite drink. So in Legacy, her drink is a chocolate smoothie. No vegetables, no fruits. It's chocolate, milk, and ice. I mean, you know, it's a chocolate smoothie. In others, they like milkshakes or coffee or tea, you know, or occasionally I'll give them like a thinking face. And whenever he sees her make this face, he knows she's really like rolling it around in her mind, because, you know, everybody does things like that. You have little quirks like that. Like, if you've noticed by watching these videos, I have a tendency to brush my hair behind my ear. and just bringing in little things like that, I feel makes them more real.
It makes them human.
Not just one-dimensional, but it gives them their own little things.
Well, and in that, you can even take it to the bad guy side of it. Whether you're writing suspense or not or whatever, whoever the person is that's creating the conflict and the drama,
Yes.
I've sat in several workshops where they've cautioned, don't just make them pure evil. There has to be something
There
that
needs to
draws
be
them back.
redeeming
And-
characteristic.
And there does, because, you know, we've all read books before. We were talking about it earlier today, that you read a book with this person that you just don't like. And you want to find something that you like. And even in your bad guy, if you have a true bad guy, there's got to be a reason why they're doing what they're doing. What is that quote? Every villain is the hero of their own story.
Right. I love that.
You know,
quote.
to get you to think about it. And no, it doesn't excuse horrible behavior. We don't use it as an excuse for them to be deplorable people.
Right.
But there is a reasoning, unless they're just completely mentally ill.
Right.
Right.
There is a reason, and even that's a reason, but
Right.
Yeah.
there are things that play into it, in giving them a real humanness.
Yeah.
I think that's why Victor you can like, because
Yeah.
okay, he's a demon, none of us are demons,
Right.
but you see that tug of war in him, and we can all relate to that tug of war.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
Do you have any favorite characters that you've read in other books? Like characters that just stay in your mind forever and ever, and if you can think of it, why? I don't know if I can.
oh, I can.
Can you?
Mhm.
Okay.
There's a character in a book, and his name is Morgan, and he's broken. And it's just a beautiful brokenness. I mean, not that he's making bad choices. He has let hurt dictate what he does. He's let disappointment drive him kind of away from the faith that he grew up in. He's not making, I mean, he's making successful choices in life, but emotionally, and he wants to help people, and he has this heart to him. But he's a mess up in a lot of ways, and it's because of his past. And the way the author does it, I mean, it just really brings out the brokenness and you want to cheer him on to be better. You want to just will him into coming back to what he knows and making the right choices and healing from all these things. And even when he's at his worst, he's still not a bad guy. He cares. He has a heart. And she's able to show both sides of that and not make excuses for his bad behavior, but make you just ache for him. And I think that's why he sticks
in your
with
mind.
me.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Think of your favorite classic characters. Like, I love Jo March in Little Women. I love her because she wants to be a writer, because she's a sister, because she marries this big dorky professor, you know. I love it. But she's also just very strong, you know. And like Anne of Green Gables is another one of my favorites.
Yeah.
These are the ones that I go back and I reread at least every other year. Those, and then some of Jane Austen's, because they're like the characters that I want my characters to be like. I want them to be strong and have imaginations and have positive outlooks in life, even when things are bad, you know.
That's good.
Do you have any characters you can think of?
Not off the top of my head. You've mentioned, you know, like Anne of Green Gables is one of my favorites, and I read so much, but it's hard to narrow it down to one that just like stands out over all of them.
Yeah.
So I have to think about that one for a little bit.
Yeah.
Put me on the spot. I'm like,
We didn't have that down as a talking
No,
point.
we didn't. No. It's a good question though.
Okay, well, we want to hear from you guys. Do you have any favorite characters? Do you have any characters that you hate? We would love to hear about that in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to our videos, and don't forget to send us your UN20 videos. And we will see you next time.
Bye.